do you want to do the intro or do you want me to do it?
I am horrible at intros. I'm really bad. If you could even set the standard, gold standard for how an intro should be, that'd be a giant favor because I'm awful at it.
Guess what, YouTube? So I want to know what young Seizure was like. I want to know what it was like for you growing up, not necessarily about your family and stuff. I just want to know what kind of kid you were, and kind of we're going to move from there and go from like who you were as a kid and how you've become to say when you started your YouTube, because we're also going to spend a lot of time talking about your YouTube.
Man, so growing up, little kid, all I can say, I'll try to kind of cover all the major time spans, but elementary school, if I were someone observing me, I would think one, that I was really, really dumb, and two, that I had some kind of like spectrum disorder, some kind of social problem, because I would do really weird things. I would see all kinds of stuff on television and imitate it for no reason, just because I felt like it. Weird example. I remember I would watch Forrest Gump, and I had this memory of him listening to someone talk and kind of shaking his head around in acknowledgement. I might even be misremembering that now, but I still remember the memory as a kid. And sometimes when people would talk to me, I would do that at them. And to someone who has no idea what's going on, they would think I was crazy or just touched in the head or something. Weird little elementary school kid. I remember sometimes I would get really sad for no reason, and that would just be me for a while. I had this idea, this is like fifth grade, that there were kids that were more popular than me, and I was a nerd, and I thought that for good reason because they told me that constantly, and that made me really depressed. Really just really bothered me for anyone to call me a nerd. This went on into middle school, and I did little things like I still won't wear glasses as a result of that because glasses are for dorks, and I'm not a
You
dork.
fucking nerd.
Fucking nerd. Point Dexter, Melvin. So now, I mean, sixth grade onward, I wore contacts and still do. And good lord, I was really, really happy in middle school. Sixth and seventh grade, loving it. Got into anime, started coming home after school to watch Toonami. Sometimes I remember on Saturday mornings they would play certain things, like they would show Escaflowne for, I think it was like 4 weeks that they showed it before they canceled it, and I lost my shit. I loved it so much. I went on the internet, old 90s internet, printed out pictures, all the characters, so forth. Was very popular, happy fella. And then eighth grade, and I say all this because it was actually very important, this timeline, especially middle school. Eighth grade, I started growing up, and you go through these changes. I started getting a lot of acne. My voice started cracking a lot, and I went to a different middle school because the zoning changed, and everyone there hated me because I was weird. I went back to being like the nerdy fella that did weird things. And
Were you one of the Naruto runners?
no, I just that'd be amazing if I was, but
Oh my god.
I didn't stand out. I didn't dress as cool as the other kids. I remember, ironically enough, being more alternative or gothic even at that school was a huge thing. They called them bangers, and I think it was like a regional term because everyone else thinks of like gangbangers, like gang members.
That
Um,
was gonna be my first thought. Is it not? Were you like so? Gothic was like a banger, and I have to ask, how gothic were you? Did
I
you
wasn't.
do the makeup and everything?
I was the opposite. I just dressed like an ordinary little kid. I didn't know
Oh,
where the hell they were getting these cool clothes from, but where I came from, you just dressed normal, I guess. Like you didn't think about it. These bangers were nowhere to be seen, and then I got thrown into this new school, and it's loaded with these kids. They're everywhere, and if you weren't a banger, you were a prep. These are some really asinine terms. I don't think even they truly understood what it was all about, but it's just this your tribalism thing. You're either this or you're that.
kids
And
have to group stuff together. It makes it easier to understand, clear boundaries, and all that.
yeah, and I just wear shirts and shit from wherever. I didn't think about it, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're a prep," and God, that went on. I got even heavier into anime. Absolutely loved it. Was really, really, really into this girl, and that dominated a huge part of just eighth grade, going into ninth grade. But I embarrassed myself constantly. I had this amazing knack for getting into situations where I would make a fool of myself and everyone would laugh at me. And I continued to volunteer to get into these types of things. So I was into like middle school theater
Uh
and
huh.
was amazing at it. Sixth and seventh grade, I wrote stuff and would do plays and this and that. And then in eighth grade, I'd be doing the same thing, but it would completely go wrong. My voice would crack. Someone would get footage of me just looking like sick and covered in acne and just all kinds of stuff, man. And people laughed at me for good reason. Uh, it's really weird to compare it, but if anyone has ever watched Dax Flame from really, really early YouTube, like 2006 to like 2008, I was basically him. I was always trying to increase my social standing and prove that I was cool, but I would fail and just get into another chance to embarrass myself. But
But you tried though.
I tried, but my thinking was horrible. It was all wrong. My strategies were very bad. Um, High school was a lot more normal. Um, Really, nothing stood out, and it's all strange because when I think back on what would have been my formative years, I just see someone who was really boring and not the most creative person. Things continued. There's a really big breaking point, and I swear it's almost like because they say that your brain is changing a lot as you get older.
Right.
It's forming. I was about 15, and suddenly, just a lot of darkness came in. I was into another girl, and things went pretty good. I started getting into horror novels, and then I would write. I would love to write really spooky stories about scary things and violence. It wouldn't be about like torture porn violence, but there would be violence in it as the horror genre tends to have.
You might appreciate this. Just a quick sidebar.
Yeah,
Uh, you weren't alone. In high school, I had to write a paper. We had to use the characters of Beowulf for like a different story altogether.
I love Beowulf.
Uh, my shit involved zombies, and I had scenes where like they were running through the woods, and like one of them got bit in the ankle, and I talked about how the snoo separated from the leg.
Yeah,
Uh, so I just think that that's really cool. I'm sorry to interrupt.
you're
Please
fine.
continue.
No, I think that kind of fascination with the gore and all that is healthy as long as it's not about torturing and hurting people, But just to be able to go into that kind of dark realm, it's like why people enjoy zombie movies and all that stuff. It's exciting. It's something new. But the big thing, stuff went sour with the girl I liked a whole lot, and it really impacted me. And around the same time, I was reading it, the Stephen King novel,
Right.
and it was really having a big effect on me. Now, people have seen the movies and stuff with it. I haven't seen the new ones because I didn't like the direction they went with it from what I could
You're
see.
you're not missing out on much. I wasn't a fan, and I'm a pretty big horror buff.
Good. Okay. The books were over the top brutal.
Mm-hmm.
The level of violence and involving kids and just it's a huge freaking book. It's gigantic. So you're reading so many pages of this kind of stuff. I suddenly started developing this persistent insomnia and I couldn't sleep anymore. And I wish I could remember when it started happening, like what was the progression? How did I go from being able to sleep like a normal person to suddenly I cannot sleep anymore no matter what? It was just this weird combo of that book really stands out, the relationship going bad when I really, really wanted it to work, and just these little things. I think I remember my dad would yell at me sometimes for being dumb. I would, I would, I would get real bad grades in math and stuff, and he'd just be like, "God, you're gonna grow up and dig ditches and stuff like that." And
Damn.
he'd get really frustrated with me. He really, I think he thought that I wasn't applying myself, and it's true, but he just really got mad at me. All this kind of culminated and started after so many days of having like micro sleeps. I have very vivid memories of looking at the clock and suddenly it would skip ahead like an hour
Yeah.
and it would be a micro sleep. I would have just basically shut down without knowing it and then returned to consciousness. But for me, it was like a second had passed. And then I would start hallucinating because I was so sleep deprived. And the whole it thing was just tying right into it. Everything that I could be afraid of was manifesting. And God, I still remember just these crazy, crazy things I was seeing. It could be a dark room, and I remember for a really intense moment all the lights being on, and there would be blood all over the walls. I had a computer in my room, and the monitor, I remember it was like bright white, and in red text it says, "You die." This is all just happening really fast. My brain is suddenly shooting with adrenaline and fear, and then it's over. and and I have to go back to sleep. And this premise came into play where not only are you going to struggle to sleep, you might have a really, really intense hallucination that freaks you out. Best of luck. And fortunately, I got help with that. But it's like from that point onward, some serious changes started happening. I started self-reflecting a lot. I got a lot more serious. Had a really good core group of friends that never knew about any of this.
Damn. I had no idea. Uh,
It was intense.
yeah, it makes sense now. While you were explaining to me your inability to sleep, yeah.
It's so weird. And I think it's generational because my grandpa, I never got to meet him. He apparently would just every single night would sit in a room and I don't know what he would do to entertain himself, but he would drink scotch to make himself sleep.
So yeah.
And it wasn't, I don't think it was because he was an alcoholic. I never heard anything about that. It was just that he had really bad insomnia and they had no idea how to treat it. I think it skipped a generation with my dad. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so with all that I've told you about, there just isn't there isn't a whole lot to really indicate, why I am the way I am now, but it's just really, really important things that happened to me growing up. To recap, anime, uh,
Anime.
being stupid, getting into embarrassing situations, then suddenly becoming afflicted with insomnia and being fascinated with morbid stuff.
Well, the reason I asked you for the the brief overview was because you have, like, anybody who talks to you, anybody who has looked through your videos, you have very much a style all your own. Everything that you do, and just from the time I've gathered from talking to you, that just the way you think is incredibly different and very interesting. Which is why we're gonna go ahead and move on to YouTube,
All right.
because the first question I have, because I've like can't look at every video you have uploaded, I'm guessing, but the ones that I can see, you started with a bunch of music videos, like classic video game soundtrack
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. I remember it was, I want to say like 2012. I picked up video editing software. I pirated it, messed around with it. I just had this urge to take clips of things that I liked. It was so cool that I could get clips from stuff like King of the Hill, stuff that I thought was really, really funny. I could clip it and just put it on my channel and maybe show it to my friends or something when I felt like it.
Right.
The music, I remember there's the Temple of the Dog video with Pearl Jam. I was so tickled that there's that one part of the song where he says, "I'm going hungry" over and over again. If you loop it, you can almost not tell that it's looping because it's just such a repetitive chorus. And
Right.
that was super funny to me. And up it went and back down again because I've been terrified of YouTube getting on my case and giving me copyright strikes and demonetizing that whole nasty path. But in the beginning, anything went. I was ready to upload anything.
Well, I mean, especially in that time frame, you probably could, because back then YouTube was actually decent.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought up your style before I brought up the music was because obviously the music came first. But your most recent videos that are actual videos are things very much you, like your haunted tape video.
Oh, yeah.
I,
That was some of my earliest VCR footage that I was experimenting with. The mall, you mean?
I'm about to
Yeah.
bring up some old videos because I went through, and like the ones that aren't Cobra related.
Yeah.
Because I've seen most of the ones that are Cobra related, and there is a section for Cobra related content. But I wanted to see what you've done before that. So I came across the haunted tape. Cerberus is probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that one's
Um,
cool.
just because me, I love that sense of style, and I wasn't expecting to see that. Uh, but no, you talked about anime a lot, and yeah, it shows. It shows because most of your videos, there was one that you kind of did. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but it had like some live action footage and also uh anime clips cut through and put into it.
Oh, Dreams.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh
Waterfront dining.
man, that's a powerful video for me. That's a real big one. My goodness,
What do you mean?
there's there's a lot of messages kind of from me to just out in the YouTube space about growing up with anime. I think I responded to someone in there, some random guy who said something nice, and then I just dumped on him all this giant explanation of what the video meant. man, growing up with the anime, when you're young, you can't help but want to be the character and emulate them, and it kind of changes how you perceive your actual life. I even mentioned in the comment, but the Japanese have a really funny term called, I think, eighth grader syndrome, where you're basically running around Naruto running. You're doing all
Yeah.
these stupid things because you're picturing yourself as this anime character. But I was into that, and I had surrounded myself with people who were that way too. The girl I really liked in middle school was just a full on weeaboo, and I couldn't get enough of that because she wanted to be an anime character, and hell yeah,
Hell yeah.
I wanted like I want to just be somewhere else. I want to be in a weird fantasy land. I'm 13 years old. But yeah, it was when I was unemployed. I was between jobs very briefly, and I started thinking real hard on that, and just started compiling all these bits of footage that kind of channeled that feeling of looking back on it and kind of missing it.
Well, I mean, I wholeheartedly believe that you like that video probably does have a lot of stuff in it just because you have a tendency like most recently you did the Be Right Back video.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's just a little short video. There's really not a whole lot of context to it, but it has a meaning. It has a purpose. And I actually wanted to ask you, was End a video like that?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Could I
and
ask what the meaning behind End was?
end was kind of, oh my goodness. It was at the end of my conflict with Oprah. I had gotten into my big fight, and it wasn't just Oprah at the time. He had familiars that were chiming in and really giving me some trouble. It's interesting when you're just starting out, you're getting in this community, and you get some really hard pushback. You just want to flip the board and stop
God,
and just
don't I
go
know it.
home. Yeah. And I remember as well, I was thinking, some of these guys, they make me nervous if they really believe that I am causing disinformation to snowball, that they might try to do something about me. And the fat fuck from Kentucky wasn't that far behind. Only so many years had passed. He's the guy who got Josh fired from
Oh,
Wendy's.
yeah, oh yeah. I guess in case somebody doesn't know, yeah, Fat fucking Kentucky. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah,
You're
go
good.
ahead.
You're good. They doxed him. They tried to find his work. They tried to really get into his personal life, and I started to consider that too as a possibility. I was also really in a dark place with my job. I left there. I only made it about 6 months because I quit. I said enough of this. But it was nasty, and it's some weird footage. It's just from, I think, a pilot episode of The Simpsons of Marge walking to entryway to the kitchen, going back to the kitchen. But the footage looks really messed up. The style and the drawing is just very unsettling. But
Well,
it was,
everything's kind of skewed. Everything's kind of
yeah,
out of place. Like the pictures are tilted. The door frame doesn't look right.
yeah,
Uh, Actually, to be honest with you, I figured it was Marge because of the hair,
yeah.
but she herself doesn't look like how she normally does. Everything looked it. So it was one of the videos that caught my eye because again, it very much like I thought that centered around what I would imagine you to put out, something skewed, something very weird, something different.
It was definitely from a place of misery. I think around that time I had actually pulled episodes 1 and 2. I had set them to unlisted while I thought really hard about things because things were just getting started, and I was encountering this really hard resistance from, and let's face it, there's crazy people in every community, but the 1% of crazy people in the Cobraverse are really crazy. They're really hardcore crazy, and I really considered the risk of that for just a little podcast where I talk about Josh with my friends. I really was thinking hard about just ending it.
I wholeheartedly know the feeling. It's yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same issue I had with the interviews. I just it wasn't it came down to a decision of, is this something I want to do, and is this something that's gonna have people hate me, and how much are they going to hate me? uh which, you know me, that just made me sad and I didn't know what to do.
It sucks. And remember talking with Bite Size about it. He's always been a really good friend. I remember the disappointment was there when I was telling him like I'm pulling this and I may not be back. But eventually I talked to him again. I just said, "Listen, I will." I didn't hold myself to it, but I said I will never interact with the subreddit ever again. And
I've heard that a few times from various different people. It always seems to come back up though. It's just because, and it's where I started, my journey for the interviews, because I was just looking for a way to find information about Josh. You Google it. Oh, look, a subreddit. There's usually good information on that. And
yeah.
it's just, so I figure that's where a lot of people start. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and use that as a segue to talk about your Josh videos. But before we do, I had two questions I wanted to ask before we got off videos that are Josh or unrelated to Josh. And that is, the first one: why Mr. Dink? I needed to know because, see, at first I just thought it was your profile picture. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I found the gatekeeping posts, and I was like, okay, I see now. Why?
I really like Mr. Dink, and I really like Doug. I love the show Doug. It's weird. It gives me really good feelings. It is strangely wholesome. I like how freaking stressed out he is all the time. And fortunately it ends well. That's the nice thing at the end, is that's all okay, and most of it was just in his head. But Mr. Dink is so funny to me. And something about that picture, he's holding this spray can of something called Taste Be Gone. As if, here, Douglas, spray this in your mouth. You don't want to taste whatever's coming next. I don't know what it's meant to mean, but it's a really, really weird picture, and I just never updated it. Just kept it.
Well, I mean, it's more or less you now. Everybody, or at least I do. I'll forever see you as Mr. Dink.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I gotta ask, and I saved this for the final question of this little segment because I wanted to ask personally. Did you feel the least bit dirty doing a reading of the Lusty Argonian Maid? I'm sure everybody loves listening to you, but I mean, did you feel a little funny about it?
Yes. I remember it started because I was doing Morrowind lore readings, and I thought that was pretty cool. And eventually reconsidered because I wanted, like, it became a Josh channel. And I'm fine with that because I like making Josh content. I don't want to finally get a community of people that likes watching my stuff and then do a bait and switch and give them content they don't want and infrequently. But someone, was just like, "Hey, make this video, please." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do it."
Fuck it, let's go.
Yeah. But after it was over, I was like, "Man, why did I do this? Why did I agree to this?" It's a weird dude.
That's dedication to your fan base. Josh could learn a thing or two from you. Somebody says, read The Lusty Argonian Maid by George, you're going to fucking do it.
If only he would have that same level of commitment, even if it makes him uncomfortable, what have you. Just do something for your fans.
Well, we're going to start talking about your Josh content with my two favorite videos I think you've ever made.
All right.
And that is the public access Josh videos.
Really?
The Chi Ball and the Cooking with Cobra.
Oh, damn.
So in my town, it's not very big. It's a city. We have a downtown city area, but it's still a town, if that makes sense. So growing up, public access TV was something I watched a lot of.
Hell yeah.
Actually, one of the people on our like public access channel like got to be so famous that he would go to events and meet people and stuff. And actually, there was an event here in my town for cancer, and they auctioned off a date with him. And he came wearing a leopard print zip up onesie, a snakeskin cowboy hat, and like black and white snakeskin boots. And women paid money to go on a date with him because he was a public access star in our town.
I was gonna say, since the broadcast is so limited, he's a celebrity in a very small geographic location, right?
Yup.
So if you were to visit, everybody knows this guy, but you would have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would blow your mind. Like he does puppet shows. Um, and you would actually, I feel like you would enjoy his content, the stuff he makes, because he
Yeah.
makes very weird and out there, like, and he uses puppets, and it's very cool. I'll get you some footage sometime.
Yeah.
But because of that, like just watching so much public access, the way you did it, I just really fucking loved it. And especially since, excuse me, the Gothic King Cobra 52, he just did like 40 some odd guitar
Yes.
insights. So you were just like, sheet ball, guitar insight, guitar insight, guitar insight. And I thought it was clever. I thought it was fun.
It's I was worried about that joke. I'm sincerely impressed that you understand that, because a lot of people don't know that Josh's videos used to be Guitar Insight titled over and over again. So yeah, if you were going to do programming for a channel that had his stuff, that's all it would be.
Basically, the same thing I did for you. Like I watched every one of your available videos that I haven't already watched because I wanted to get a bigger sense of like your content. Josh, I can't do that. Why? Because he has like 10,000 fucking hours of videos.
Yeah.
But I did want, like when I first started the interviews, the first thing I wanted to do when I heard about the archive was I wanted to see where he started.
Oh yeah.
So I watched a fuck ton of the King Cobra 52 videos.
Nice.
And yeah, it's just Guitar Insight like 49, 47. It's some ridiculous number. And it's just funny because if he did that now, it would just be like Pipe Thoughts
Chilling.
3000.
Yeah.
Chilling 3000.
Not video. Yeah. No, kudos for catching that. I'm really, I must say, I'm surprised that those are a favorite. I'm not like displeased or anything, but those have always kind of been more under the surface. Those are definitely me learning to use the VCR for my stuff. The very first thing was the haunted tape, and then almost immediately afterward were the public access videos.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, the Chi-Ball video isn't so much like a favorite video. That's one that I kind of saw, and it's like, okay, he does that now. It's not much different than like normal day Josh. But the pasta, the fucking macaroni and cheese,
Oh,
with
yeah?
all the bullshit in it, and just fucking that video, I love more than anything because I love Cobra's cooking videos more than anything because he's just so fucking ridiculous.
The the ending to that one is, I think, one of my most favorite things I've ever put together, because he, it's the idea that he dropped all his stuff, but off screen he's, nope, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
And then God, I'm trying to remember the line, just like fuck this shit or something like that. And then he peels out on his bike, and it's like him leaving the studio, which is just so good. And then the credits and the music, man. Oh yeah.
That's one fucking thing after another. I'm not doing it again. No. Fuck this. I won't back down. No, won't back down.
See that? Look, even with the way you're talking about it, you can't tell me that doesn't sound like a really good Cobra video. And it was, you know, it's before everybody was making the edits. No discredit to people like Spooky Tuning or Bite Size, love their work. But I just the way you did it, it made me feel like, you know, if I'm staying up in the middle of the night because I can't sleep and I turn on the TV,
Oh,
you know, I
yeah.
ain't got no cable, you know, just the bunny ears, and I flip it over to the public access channel. And I was like, oh, the weird dude with the glasses is making some macaroni and cheese tonight.
Yeah, man. That makes me feel good. I remember kind of looking back on it and just being like, I didn't really do that much different with the footage. Like I added bits. I remember there's like a little Scotty's dead. Here's his funeral coming up next.
Yeah,
Blurb.
it was in remembrance of fucking
And I like put him in a coffin or something. But a weather alert because Josh conjured a thunderstorm. Little kids watch out because around that time he was getting bullied by children.
yeah.
But but you know, besides those little bits, and then the big payoff is the ending. I was super proud of that. I was like, man, I didn't add that much to it, but fortunately, it seems like it was transformative enough to be enjoyable. It's not just like a rehashed Josh video.
No, it's 100% something that if you haven't watched it before, like if you haven't gone through Seizures old videos, you should 100% look up the Cooking with Cobra public access television video. 100% one of my favorite Josh videos. But I guess, you know, what's your favorite Josh video? The ones that you've made. I mean, because Lord knows he's got plenty from his discography.
I know what most viewers like the most. I'm actually like going to my channel now. The next door neighbor ASMR video. Oh, people are crazy for that thing. Absolutely nuts. I mean, it's a good video and it's funny because each subsequent ASMR video, I have to work harder and harder to come up with like a good concept. And that one was by far the easiest. Just get him pounding away, screaming, making noise, you know, make it convincing that he's next door.
The fucking smoke pouring out through the
That's a
damn
good
vent.
touch. That's a good touch. And it was so hard to get that shot of like inside an apartment with the vent there. Getting that vent in the shot was so difficult. God, man, I'm really proud of certain things like the Cobra console stuff. I don't know if it's as popular, but the basically mimicking that effect that I'd seen someone else use. People are familiar. I've had one guy give me a hard time that I should openly give him credit, but there was a fellow who did Chris Chan terminal tapes. Forgot what he called it exactly, but I saw the style and I was like, I want this. I want to decrypt it, figure out how to do it myself. It's not easy. It is really, really hard to get that stupid cursor effect where it reveals the text as he's saying stuff. There's about 1 million keyframes, and I'm listening to the same stupid line over and over again to not only understand how to type it, but to get the timing right. My goodness, there's a lot of work into that. I really like the universe that is set up with those.
It goes back to your style. The animations that you do, and actually, like if you go through your YouTube and stuff, the videos that are public, you'll see like you've done faces for what I'm guessing were like people who asked you to do some stuff for them.
Yeah.
And you're very good at the pixel style, especially, or I don't know if that's the right term for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's
but
fine.
the Snake Bones, the intro with
Yeah, I was
Josh
just
fighting Scotty.
I was just thinking of that.
That you're very good with that old technological look. I'm gonna go with. And it's this. I'm sorry to go on a tangent, but it's just I love things like that, animations, video games, stuff like that. It's the stuff that really gets my goat.
There'll be there'll be more of that pretty soon. It's absolutely crazy, but that probably is one of my most favorite things I've ever made is that intro.
Ever?
It's a tough one, man. I spent so much time on that, and I had never done anything like that before. It's hard to choose.
When you did that, this, yeah, I'm sure it has nothing to do, but I'm curious because of how similar it was. The scene where he's lighting the cigarette and it's just him and it's just the flame from the lighter giving
Yeah,
like illuminating. Did you kind of get inspiration from Spawn? Did you watch a lot of Spawn when you were younger?
I remember it was on HBO, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that. But I can definitely see it because they loved covering things and darkness and limited light sources, all that.
It was one scene in particular. See, because I love the Spawn animated movies. They're great stuff. Uh, Actually, to this day, like if anybody was to be like, "Yo, what's your favorite quote from a movie?" There's a scene where like he's digging himself up from the grave because he needs to make sure he's actually dead. And the corpse comes back, and it's like, all right, you came back to see your wife, you saw her, so now you got to come back and be Hell's General. And he's like, I'm not gonna do it, and it's just you made a deal, you dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It tries to kill him. But no, there's a scene when he actually understands his powers a bit more. These people are fucking up some of the bums, and one of the bad guys goes to light a cigarette and spawns in his face.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and it's the same kind of angle. So I just, like I said, I'm sure it wasn't connected, but with how you talk about anime, I wasn't sure if that translated to things like the Spawn animated series.
Oh, it may as well, just given again that style, and dealing with paranormal stuff, otherworldly things. Uh, I can certainly see it. I don't know what I was thinking of in particular. Maybe, if anything, the old, weird saying old, but the first Helsing anime was a huge influence on me. I loved the style.
What was your inspiration for the Dream Wizard?
Oh, that's my headcanon. That's that's part of a story I have been cooking up for a long time that would absolutely appear in if I were to do a point and click game, some kind of really light RPG. There is some serious, overly detailed headcanon involving that character and the main story of the game that I have in mind.
So are what you tell or is what you're telling me right now is that Seizure Robot 5000 King Cobra JFS game confirmed?
Hell no. Hell no. If I can get a guaranteed amount of funding for me to sit on my ass and work on it, yes, it's coming. But there is. I mean, I've seen it happen to all kinds of people trying to make a game that never comes out. It is a massive amount of time that's required. Everything else would have to be put on hold, and then I would probably be busy for at least 6 months to a year.
I wholeheartedly believe that. To be honest with you, I've always wanted to make a game, but if I was to make a game, I would have to be something like the story director, because what I want to do is I just want to get a big old piece of paper and draw a fake map and
Yeah.
just like start put like I'll put a city here and off to the side like bullet point would be like main quest like go here to find yada yada and then like side quests like yada and then just a big map of all these quests and how they tie into each other because I love writing stories. I think it's probably the best thing I ever got out of high school
Well, there you go,
was
man.
I had an art teacher.
See, you are
I
creative.
put I Man, I guess I can be a little bit, but I feel
It's
like I'm dull.
it's world building that you like to do. You like to create that world and build on it.
I mean, I have had plenty of ideas. Um, Actually, my favorite thing to do in the world is to listen to music and then like put scenarios to that music.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
it's just weird head stuff. But I meant to ask about this earlier while I was still talking about the Josh stuff. It's not too crazy out of line, but the Killers video.
Oh yeah.
That was something I personally wanted to ask you about because that was one of the first videos I ever saw of yours.
Damn. Okay.
Somebody
Nice.
posted it to the Reddit, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was posted a little bit before I had joined. So like I was going through the top stuff, and that came up, and that was like the first time I found you. And I think by that point in time, you had a couple of the snake bones out, so then obviously I watched those to learn about Josh. Congratulations, Caesar, you're one of the people who taught me about Josh.
Well, now you know a lot of inaccuracies and misinformation, so shame on
Oh,
me.
whatever. Shame on you, Caesar.
No, that's really really good. I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm kind of a part of their introduction to things because Bite Size, of course, is the most critical person out there, but for just kind of these really broad topics, you can garner a lot of information from the podcasts.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I used some of like clips and stuff from your podcast to form questions and stuff in the interviews.
Nice.
Actually, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll interview, I believe there may have been more than a few ideas I got from watching your Josh and sexuality video.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
And it's a good, like, okay, so you want to learn about specific topics about Josh without getting like too far into watching actual videos. It's a good way to, you know, learn certain things. And you brought up videos that people could go up to and look if they wanted to learn more. So I mean, it was a good help. I really appreciate those videos.
With Killers, were you familiar with the actual source material that it is imitating?
No, that's what I wanted to ask about. Got on another.
Oh, yeah. See, it's interesting because it seems to still appeal to people even if they are not familiar, but it is like a reenactment up till it ends. The original video is a little bit longer, but I just couldn't keep it up. It is a series of animations kind of in that same kind of just like all over the place MS Paint style of Dilbert cartoons. And
Okay.
God, the feeling that those things give you is so heavy, and it's bizarre. The combination of the music that they use, and in that one it was called Killers. And again, each scene is based off of it. Like looking at a picture of E.T. and throwing the frame. Right before that, he's imagining himself making out with someone that looks like Marilyn Monroe, and she morphs into E.T. for some reason, like he's fighting this attraction. I mean, with Killers, I like to think that it at least still translates because you've got like the imaginary zone, which I hopefully is indicated whenever you have the alternating colors going
Right.
on. These are things that he's imagining. He's got the big tittied goth woman, and then you could probably picture he's like masturbating or something while he's imagining all this crap, and then morphing into Clint. It's like he can't. It's not that he's like attracted to Clint, but he's distracted thinking about him, about his dad, and the picture frame. It's like he can't even escape without thinking about how bad his relationship is with Clint, and throwing the picture frame, looking at it, all that.
Are you laughing because you're thinking of the context of like what's going on nowadays? Because I was just thinking that.
Oh no, I started to think about because I kind of had like a lapse there with the original animation that I was thinking about, and the original Dilbert thing. with him and Scotty, Dilbert's boss comes over, and it's that same pace. Like, I was matching it second for second as close as I could. He goes, Dilbert, I want you to wear this bolo tie. I need you to wear this bolo tie for work or something like that. And it's this, tension between his fucking boss telling him to wear this stupid bolo tie and how he doesn't have a choice. And Scotty, the parallel of him being like, hey, buy this blanket. Buy this expensive Pikachu blanket. You don't have a choice. I'm going to make you do it. Man, I love that. And, people watching not knowing what the hell's going on, they get it. If you know the lore, Josh probably didn't want to have to buy that stupid thing, but he loves Scotty. So he buys it. But yeah. Killers
is it that
good.
he loved Scotty, or was it that he loved Summer?
Oh, combo.
Combo.
He did, man, you know your lore, man. Good going. It was a present. It was meant to be a really special present. Crusty Pikachu blanket. He has a real affection for Scotty at the same time.
No, he definitely does. He definitely loves his friends, or at least he used to, it seems like.
Yeah.
Well, I have 2 more questions, and then I have a lightning round of sorts of just hodgepodge questions that people wanted to ask you.
Gotcha.
So I figured I'd put it at the tail end. So the first question I have before we end this section is, where did Bart and Jeff come from?
Bart and Jeff are... at the root of it, I can talk about the inspirations and stuff, but it's no coincidence that they appeared right after the end video, which is, again, me being completely miserable and fed up. Out came Bart and Jeff. No one loves them. Some people do, but especially around that time, everybody hated those characters, but they are a manifestation of me being really pissed off with the Cobraverse. Out come these 2 like shock jock has-been
yes.
radio DJs. And the idea was I was getting so much criticism for misinformation and just being called a piece of shit. I was like, fine, here's these guys making fun of Josh, not knowing what the hell's going on, just playing clips and just talking about some guy they've seen. And then they're going to say, don't give Josh any money, he's stupid. Buy this shirt that says Josh is stupid, give us money. Like,
Right.
That's all where it came from. And then finally they came back again, and I'm way more proud of listener calls than the other Bart and Jeff. By the way, deepest apologies to everyone who submitted calls. There's about a chunk remaining. It is insanely hard to figure out what to do with some of that stuff. I love that one so much.
I wasn't going to ask any more about your videos because I was going to go ahead and move on, but I did want to ask you, this is a personal question because I was there for it.
Yeah.
How hard was the beginning of the Halloween stream?
The Halloween video where I'm dancing was exhausting. That was absolutely exhausting. I wasn't on drugs either. People saying I'm on drugs.
Oh, whatever.
No way.
Caesar, you don't dance.
No, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it. I wish I could have. Like maybe next year I'll study it really hard and actually have some good moves. But I got so stuck on that idea, and I danced for. How long did I go for? It wasn't an hour, was it?
I want to say it's like 45 minutes. I might be wrong because obviously it was New Year's or no, Halloween. My bad. That was kind of a minute ago. I want to say it's like 45 minutes, and then you kind of came on and like chatted with the chat for a while.
It was hard. So what people couldn't see is that with the fades that I was doing with the remote, I could like just stop everything and breathe for a second and then get ready for the next. So it wasn't a sustained 45 minutes of activity. There were, fortunately, little hidden breaks in there. But what was really fun is I could do stuff like run somewhere and engage the fade, and it just seems like I'm turning into nothing. Like I remember watching the footage afterward and laughing super hard at what I was able to get away with.
Did you see the chat? Like, were you able to go back and see the chat? Because literally everybody was like, "Is he really doing this? No, look at no, this isn't really happening. Like, this is edited. Like, for real, this is just a video he's playing." Like, it was hard to tell. I know I wasn't sure. Like, if you were if you made a video and you edited it to just kind of give it that look, and then you put the music with it, or if you were just actually there dancing.
That was such a huge screw up on my part, because if it were actually established at the beginning that it was me, I think it would have exploded. Like, at least people would have been way more excited to understand what they're seeing in front of them. But on the flip side, to think that you're just being presented with edited footage of some guy dancing that's lame. That's, who cares? But God, the idea of being able to put something on that was that like technically complex in real time was like so cool to me. I was so stuck on the idea.
Oh, it was ultimate. And honestly, you should teach other people how to do it. And then next Halloween, you can just have like a 3-hour stream, and you can have 2 or 3 people fucking dancing.
I'll consider it if they have the guts to do it. It's not easy. It's not easy putting that thing on.
We've had a really good talk. There aren't too many lightning questions, but I have to go ahead and get these out of the way. Which way do you put your toilet paper? Over, under?
I like to do it where it's behind the roll and you have to really get up in there, and makes a huge mess. I also like to just put the roll on top of the toilet lid and never put it on. I also like to use a sponge like the Romans do. I get like the sponge on a stick and just shove it up my ass.
You're a fucking degenerate.
I know. I do everything wrong. I got one of those attachments during the toilet paper scare.
You got one of the bidets?
I got just a hose. It's a sprayer. You hook it up to the back. It's like on the sink where you have the little squirter. You just get that right up there and start blasting away, and I made a huge mess all the time with it. Yeah,
that sounds horrible.
Yeah,
but Harry Boothole asks, would you have kids with him?
It depends on how handsome he is.
Yuki asks, would she be better bald or not?
Good Lord. Ugh. I mean, ugh. That really implies that I'd want to have sex with her.
Do you feel like a degenerate now?
See, that's making me feel gross. I have nothing but pure love for Yuki. It's all wholesome.
Wholesome.
I would hold hands with her. She'd probably get pregnant from that or something, but that's about it.
Awful.
Yeah.
Tell me, Seizure, what's your favorite band and why is it Stone Sour?
Who the hell is Stone Sour?
Who the hell is Stone Sour? You don't know?
Time to Google. Stone Sour.
It's Corey Taylor's offhand band, the lead singer of Slipknot.
Oh, damn. So that guy's still making stuff?
Oh, yeah, no, he's done okay, so imagine Slipknot, right? But really soft, and he sings like a bitch the whole time.
Did he find Jesus or something, like the fella from Korn?
No, he blew his vocal cords out from screaming Slipknot for years, so he wanted to sing, and then he inevitably got tired of playing like wimpy music, so he went back to Slipknot, but he still wanted to sing, so that's why we have Slipknot like we do now.
Wow. Stone Sour. What a name.
To be honest, the album Come Whatever May is actually really good. I give Stone Sour shit, but it's actually a really good album.
Damn. Man, in terms of a favorite band, that's a really, really tough one. There's genres and stuff that I'm really into, but, just right off the bat, I can't pick a single group.
What's your favorite goth band and why is it Bruno Mars?
Well, Bruno Mars. I like I like 30 Seconds to Mars. I like Jared Leto. I think he's really cool.
Do you love My Chemical Romance?
Oh, hell yeah. They're my favorite goth band. I've got a big old tattoo. I go to all their concerts. I
You wear
love.
tactical soap when you do it too.
Oh, I rub it all over myself. I get all those. I mean, not really young girls anymore. They all grew up. Uh, all those scene girls from back in the day coming back.
Tell me, and this is a serious question. Have you, just to see what it smells like, bought a bar of tactical soap?
No, no. I mean, it's pretty expensive, isn't it?
It's like $11, $12 shipping and handling.
Oh, total waste of money.
Well, apparently the reviews on Google talk about how it falls apart in your hands and
Yeah,
shit. So
it crumbles. I might not be remembering this right, but they described it as being kind of like oily or something. Just a really weird consistency.
yeah, it's not good soap according to its reviews. And to be honest, the only person I've ever heard talk about this soap is Josh himself. So
Yeah.
that's something. This one I avoided talking about the video because it pertains to this question, but the Cobra Snipe Hunt video, the 9-second King of the Hill edit where fucking Bobby hisses at the dude.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so using that, what is your favorite episode of King of the Hill?
Oh, wow. All right, so the one that I've been able to watch time and time again, and it has this really unusual effect of feeling a lot longer than it is because there's so much stuff happening. There's an episode where this fella comes out of nowhere. He calls himself Rad Thibodeaux. Like, he can't pronounce his made-up name. It's supposed to be Thibodeau. Bobby loves him. Luann loves him. He's a huge douche. He, like, gives out free copies of AOL.
I personally love King of the Hill more than anything. There's such a good, wholesome show about a man who loves his country, his family, and his job. It's truly the best thing in the world. But there are a lot of great characters on King of the Hill. So I need to know, Seizure, which one are you more of, Dale or Hank?
I've thought about this, Dale. I'm paranoid. I love conspiracy theories. If I could have a basement, I would be in it constantly. I love surveillance footage. I would have cameras rigged up. I could watch Bill iron his clothes. I like guns. He loves guns.
He loves guns.
Yeah. Definitely Dale. The only thing that I am not aligned with is I am not a cuckold. I don't have a Native American man coming into my house and having sex with my wife.
Okay, so that leads to the question. This isn't a question on the list. I just got to ask. Is Dale a cuck or is he just a fucking idiot?
He is really, really stupid. And it's part of the humor is that he believes in all these conspiracies and distrusts everything. But
his wife.
the one thing that's happening right in front of him, he just completely goes with it.
So you think he knows? You think he might be stupid, but you think he knows?
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Oh,
He just naively believes that a Native American man needs to massage his wife at like 9 p.m. in the evening. There's this one clip.
3 times a week.
There's this one clip where he has a pellet gun rigged up to shoot people trying to get into his house, and it fires, and it's John Redcorn, and he's just like, get back in there and start massaging my wife, and he's, oh fuck, it's such a funny line. I'm not doing it justice, but it goes to show how blind he is to the entire thing.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I also wish
tell you-
I was unemployed like Dale is. He basically doesn't have a job.
He's the fucking exterminator. That's a job, kinda.
They stated that like he makes enough money to pay the cable bill, and that's it. I would love to have my wife, partner, whatever, just make all the money for me while I freaking squirt bugs and hang out in the basement.
There is one more question. that I gotta ask, and then I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And that's, what is the favorite commission, or what is your favorite commission video, and why is it the Homeboy Robbie promo?
Because it's my only one.
I'll get fucked.
Who asked that?
It was me, Seizure. I
Oh,
wanted to
man.
know.
I had to zing you. I had to zing you with that. I caught you. Yeah. No, it's a good video. It's right up there with the 2019 Best of intro, which is one of my absolute favorites. That's a good intro.
I just feel like you're blowing smoke up my ass at this point, Seizure.
I mean,
But
I've only got 2 of them. I think I've literally only done 2 commission promos where I benefited someone else's channel.
well, you have no idea how much I appreciate you doing that for me. You have no idea how much I appreciate you actually coming up on the channel and giving me a chance to bullshit with you for what feels like 2 hours. Dude, this was a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with you, and you just one more time for the crowd. I really appreciate you giving me your time, but it's about that time. We're going to have to go ahead and call it here, because I feel like if we don't, we're going to go on for another couple hours.
True. I will say one last thing. Thank you for honoring the time in which you said that we would meet up. I can't stress that enough. That's a very real thing. Very quick story. I had some entity reach out to me a good while ago, but it's still just sticking with me. They had their own podcast. They said they cover internet weirdos, etc. They want to have me on. I thought, cool. I've never been a guest on someone else's show. Great. They hounded me all week. I agreed to work with them on a Saturday. They checked with me constantly, so urgently, to make sure I was good. I'm like, yeah, there's a pandemic. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be home.
Right.
Don't worry. And I'm really serious about these appointments. Saturday rolls around, and he's like, hey, man, sorry, can't do it. Next weekend, please. I'm like, yeah, fine. I'll be around. Let's do it. So throughout the next week, I can't help myself. Anytime I set up an appointment like this, it's in the back of my head. I'm thinking about it. It makes me nervous knowing that this is coming up, especially on a stranger's podcast, people I've never talked to before.
Right.
Second week, hey, you gonna make it, man? We really need you to make it. Messaging me on Reddit. Won't leave me alone. Saturday comes. He's like, hey, man, my partner's late. I don't know where he is. Stick around. Oh, he's moving. We need to reschedule. I was livid. I'll be straight with you. I was so mad. Don't reach out to me wanting to borrow me for something. I'm happy to help you out. You know that firsthand.
Absolutely.
Set up an appointment and try your damnedest to stick to it. I could not believe the audacity for him to not even know that his other guy that he works with regularly on his podcast was going to be moving that day. It's disrespectful. Drove me nuts. Anyway, you did a great job. You said, hey, let's meet at this time on this day, and you were there. Amazing.
Well, it's something I'm trying to be known for, because I'm going to give you a little insight into my personal life. I am late for everything.
Oh.
I cannot be on time to save my life. But with these interviews, and I gave Josh the same courtesy, if I tell you I'm going to be there at this time, yada, yada, such and such, yeah, that is my word that, it's going to happen and I'm going to be there. And my word's very important. No, as a kind of disclaimer for anybody who sat through this video and has made it to the end and you would like to do an interview with me, just know if I give you a time that we're going to meet, you can rest assured in knowing that I'm going to be there. And it means a lot that you were there, because I have also dealt with people who don't like to show up on fucking time. So it makes everything so much easier, and it really does mean a lot. I really appreciate this for all the viewers who have made it through here this far. this fine gentleman, Mr. 5000 or SeizureRobot5000, if you want to be proper. He has a great channel. He makes a lot of really good edits. And also, if you're a part of the Cobraverse and you haven't watched the public access videos he's made, I wholeheartedly recommend them. Thank y'all for watching. And Seizure, if there's anything else you'd like to say, now would be your time.
Smash that like button, comment, rate, and subscribe. Find me on Patreon and donate money. Buy my merch. I've got a lot of merch.
Buy my merch.
I've got a Amazon storefront where I drop ship stuff that I recommend that you should buy.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but you know, I get like residuals whenever you buy stuff for looks maxing or whatever I'm trying to promote. Thanks for supporting my channel. No, for real, that's all. Very grateful to do this Q&A. I'm sad it's over.
I ended it. I was just seeing how long you were going to keep going.
I could have kept going. Easy.